Your iPhone is probably the biggest window into your private life that you carry around with you everywhere you go. We all know how important it is to keep it secure and safe from prying eyes, but you might not realize just how much your iPhone is quietly given away all day, every day. Not to hackers, to the person sitting opposite you on the train, to whoever picks it up off your desk, to the friend that you just forwarded an email to. So in this video, I'm going to show you a handful of small settings and habits that most people never think about. None of them take more than a few seconds, and every one of them closes a little gap that you probably didn't know was open. Okay, let's get into it. Opening the Messages app in front of someone can reveal way more than the one conversation that you're trying to reply to. Your recent conversations, contact names, and message previews can all appear on screen, even if you only wanted to send a quick response. A more private option is to reply directly from the lock screen, so you can deal with that specific message without opening your full list of conversations. So here I've received a message and my iPhone is showing it as a preview on the lock screen. All I need to do is long press that preview for a second and a mini version of the Messages app will appear along with the keyboard. I can then type my reply, tap send, and the message is sent straight away. There's no need to unlock the phone fully or open the Messages app, so you can quickly respond without displaying everything else in your inbox. If you received a really long email and you want to forward part of it to someone else, be careful that you're not also sharing loads of information that they don't need to see. Rather than sending the entire conversation, you can forward just the relevant section. Long press on the text in the email and use the selection handles to highlight only the part that you want to share. Then tap the reply button at the bottom and choose forward. The forwarded email will be created as normal, but when you scroll down, you'll see that it only includes the section that you selected. This means that you can send the important part without exposing everything else in the message. It works for replies as well if you want to draw attention to a specific section of what someone wrote. Select that part first, then tap reply, and that's the only content that will be included. By the way, if the tips in this video are your kind of thing, you'll like the Daily Swipe. It's my free daily email, one iPhone tip a day, about a minute to read and do, and then you're done. Exactly like the ones that you just watched, only you get a new one every day. It's the easiest way that I know to actually get to know your iPhone properly. Scan the QR code on screen or use the link in the description. If you ever hand your unlocked iPhone to someone else, they potentially have access to way more than the one thing that you wanted to show them. This is really worth thinking about if you have young children and often let them use your iPhone. There's a feature called guided access that can help, and if you're not familiar with it, let me show you how it works. The idea is that your iPhone stays fully functional but is locked into a single app, so the person using it can't start looking through anything else. For example, you could open the particular app that you're happy for them to use without giving them access to your messages, emails, photos, or anything else on your phone. To set this up, go into Settings, then tap Accessibility. Scroll all the way to the bottom and in the General section, look for Guided Access. Tap into it and enable it. If you're doing this for the first time, your iPhone may walk you through the setup process. Otherwise, tap Passcode Settings and set a Guided Access passcode. Choose a 6-digit code that you'll remember, and if available, you can also enable Face ID for quicker access. Once that's set up, exit Settings and open the app that you'd like to keep your iPhone locked into. With that app open, triple tap the side button on your iPhone. This brings up your accessibility shortcuts. Tap Guided Access. If you've enabled Face ID, Guided Access will start automatically. If not, you'll be prompted to enter your passcode. You can now use the app as normal, but if someone tries to swipe up from the bottom to leave it, your iPhone won't let them. They're locked into that one app until you turn Guided Access off. When they've finished, simply triple tap the side button again. Turn off Guided Access, and you'll either use Face ID or enter your passcode to end it. Then on the screen that appears, tap End in the top left corner to switch Guided Access off. The Always On display is a really useful feature, but it could also be showing people more than you realize. My wallpaper these days is usually a photo of my wife and kids, and without changing this setting, that photo stays fully visible whenever my screen locks. Thankfully, there's a setting on your iPhone that makes it feel a little more private. Go into Settings, then tap Display and Brightness and scroll down to the Always On Display section. Tap into that and make sure Show Wallpaper is turned on, because you'll need that enabled for this to work. Then turn on the option called Blur Wallpaper Photo. With this setting disabled, your phone shows the full, sharp version of your wallpaper in the background when it's locked. But if you enable it, the wallpaper appears blurred, so you still get the overall look and feel of the image without leaving the full photo quite so exposed when your iPhone is locked and sitting on a table. If your iPhone supports Apple Intelligence, which is an ever-growing number of iPhones these days, there's a really useful censorship feature built into the photo app that can help you avoid sharing someone's identity. So let's say that I want to send this photo to someone, but I don't want the person's face to be visible. This is really easy to do with Apple Intelligence. Just tap the little edit button at the bottom of the screen, then tap Cleanup. Wait for Cleanup to be ready, and when it is, use pinch to zoom in on the person's face. Then simply take your finger and draw a circle around it. Your iPhone will recognize that you're trying to blur someone's face and apply identity protection straight away. You can then press Done, share the photo, and know that the person's identity is hidden. This works with text as well, so if you need to blur out a license plate, some letters in a photo, or anything else that you don't want to expose, you can use it there in exactly the same way. If you need to share a password with someone, stop copying and pasting it into Messages. Messages is encrypted, so this isn't necessarily as unsafe as it sounds, but there is a much better option built directly into your iPhone. The Passwords app lets you create shared groups and securely share login details with other people. Anyone in the group can automatically use the username and password on their own device without typing anything in manually, and if the password changes, it's updated for everyone automatically. To do this, open the Passwords app and unlock it. Look for the Shared Group section. If you already have a shared group set up with the person that you want to share with, tap into that group and add the password. Most people probably won't have one set up yet though, so in that case, tap the New Folder button in the bottom left corner. Give the group a name, then tap Add People and choose who you want to include. Anyone in your iCloud family will appear automatically, but you can also add people from your contacts as long as they're iCloud users. Once the group has been created, tap into it and press the plus button in the bottom right corner. You'll see an option called Move Passwords to Group, which is what you'd use if the password is already saved in your Passwords app. The other option is New Password, which you'd use to create one from scratch. Once a password has been added to the group, it still works as normal for you, but everyone that you've added will also have access to it on their own device. Just make sure that you only do this with people that you trust, but if you do, it's a really clean and effective way to share login details. If you ever hand someone your iPhone to look through a few photos, there could be all sorts of information mixed into your library that you didn't intend to share. Screenshots of private messages, delivery notifications, or anything else that you've saved can suddenly appear between your holiday photos and family pictures. Apple has added a simple way to hide screenshots from your main Photos feed entirely. They aren't deleted, they're just kept out of sight, so they don't appear while you're scrolling. Open Photos and tap the filter button at the top of the screen. Choose View Options, then tap Screenshots to disable them. When you do want to see your screenshots, you can either filter them back in or go to Collections, then Media Types and choose Screenshots, where they're all neatly collected in one place. It's a small change, but it helps prevent you from accidentally showing someone far more than the photos that you actually wanted them to see. Just because someone has your phone number doesn't mean they should be able to call or message you directly whenever they like. In most cases, spam calls and messages come from numbers that aren't saved in your contacts, and your iPhone has a few tools to screen them. Go into Settings, scroll down and choose Apps, then scroll down again and tap Phone. You'll find a section called Screen Unknown Callers, where you have a couple of options. You can choose Silence, which means calls from unsaved numbers will be silenced, sent to voicemail, and still shown in your recents list. The caller won't reach you directly, they'll leave a voicemail instead, and you can decide whether to call them back. There's also a really useful option called Ask Reason for Calling. With this enabled, callers from unknown numbers are asked for more information by your iPhone before your phone rings. It usually appears on your screen a bit like a live voicemail, so you can quickly see who's trying to contact you and decide whether to answer. I'd also recommend enabling the Unknown Callers toggle within call filtering. This moves missed calls and voicemails from unknown numbers into a dedicated unknown callers list in the phone app, making it much easier to separate them from calls that you actually recognize. Of course, it's completely up to you. If you receive lots of legitimate calls from unknown numbers, you might not want to use these features, but for most people, they can make a massive difference when it comes to cutting down on junk calls and messages. Your Notes app could contain some of the most private information on your iPhone, including passwords, personal details, or thoughts you don't want anyone else reading. Rather than leaving all of that exposed whenever someone has access to your phone, you can lock individual notes behind Face ID. Open the note that you want to protect, tap the 3 dots in the top right corner, and tap Lock. You might be asked to enter a passcode, but if you've set up the Notes app with Face ID, you'll usually skip this step. If you do need to enter a passcode, this can be your device passcode or a separate custom password specifically for locked notes. It is worth knowing that initially, this only applies a lock to the note. You'll still need to tap the padlock button at the top to actually lock it. To change which option you're using or to toggle Face ID on and off, go into Settings, scroll all the way down and choose Apps. Then select Notes and tap Password. From here, you can choose between a custom password or your device passcode and enable or disable Face ID. It is also worth knowing that you can't lock a note that contains tags. If you try and nothing happens, remove all the tags from the note first, then apply the lock. So that's 10 small things. None of them took more than a few seconds, and together they close a lot of little gaps that you didn't know were open. You don't have to do all 10 today. Pick the 2 or 3 that actually apply to how you use your phone. Do those now while you're thinking about it, and come back to the rest another time. And that's really the point. Staying safe on your iPhone isn't about one big dramatic setting. It's about a handful of small, sensible habits that quietly make you a much harder target. If there's a tip that you use that I didn't cover, drop it in the comments. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving me a like and subscribing to my channel for more content like this in the future. See you on the next video.